गिरिवरधारी यशोधनन्दन व्रज जनवन्दन यमुना तीरा वनचारी यमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे जय राधा गोविंद राधा गोविंद राधे जय जगन्नाथ जय जगन्नाथ जय बलदेवा जय सुभद्रा जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय जय लक्ष्मी नरसिंह जय वरानिका वरानिका जय गौरानिका निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल जय 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 प्रभुपाद प्रभुपाद Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So let us begin our session. This diploma course Bhagavad Gita. So to start with, if you all have this Bhagavad Gita book with you, you should have this Bhagavad Gita as it is. In the beginning we have the Pranam mantra. We should try to chant the Pranam mantra together. There are, in this group, we have the old devotees also. We have very fresh, new joined devotees also. So we'll start with the Pranam mantra. This is the page number 1. Page number 1. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagada Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagada Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Let us take the shelter of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna and start with Bhagavad Gita studies. So in this diploma course, the whole schedule will be like this. There will be certain questions. Every session will be discussing with certain questions. I will try to answer those questions. And your work will be, you should notice, you should keep the record of all this. You should put it in the book, because every month we'll be having a small examination. So Bhagavad Gita as it is. Bhagavad Gita is also known as Gita Upanishad. When we had this Bhagavad Gita crash course at that time, why this name Gita Upanishad was given. So we'll have some small revision also. There are so many devotees who had been attending this course for past 2 years. For them it will be a revision. For the new fresh devotees, so you can note down why Gita is also known as Gita Upanishad. Veda Vyasa, he divided the Vedas into 4 parts, and each section, in every 4 parts, the Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sam Veda, Atharva Veda, so 4 parts. Total there are 1130 chapters. Every chapter is also divided into 4 sections. Last time we had done this, Brahmanakas, Aranyakas, Samhitas, Upanishads. Very intelligent class of people. They were actually neglecting the Puranas, Itihasas, because Puranas and Itihasas, they give more detailed explanation about the Upanishad. These intelligent people, they were understanding the Upanishad. But less intelligent people, for them Puranas and Itihasas were given. So when Adi Shankaracharya saw that his disciples are criticizing Puranas, Itihasas, Mahabharata, Ramayana, they come in Itihasas. There are 18 Puranas. But when they were criticizing Mahabharata and Ramayana, especially in Mahabharata, you have Parvas. You have Bhishma Parva. One of the Parva is Bhishma Parva. 25th chapter to 42nd chapter, you find Bhagavad Gita. So when you are criticizing Mahabharata, that means you are criticizing Bhagavad Gita also. So how can a person criticize the words of Krishna? That is why 25th chapter to 42nd chapter is Bhagavad Gita in the Bhishma Parva. Immediately, Shripad Adi Shankaracharya gave a verse. Sarvo Upanishado Gao, Dugdha Gopal Nandana, Partho Vatsa Sudhirmukta, Dugdam Gita, Amrutam Mantra. So this verse comes in the whole introduction. We will not be going to the first chapter till we do some revision of the introduction. There is introduction part. in the introduction part, there is a verse which ends with this. Sarvopanishado gao, dogdha gopala nandanaha, partho vatsa sudhir bhukta, dugdam gita amritam mahat. Sarvo Upanishado gao. If you compare all the Upanishad, then as many chapters, so many Upanishad. If you take the essence of all the Upanishad, what is that? That is Bhagavad Gita. The essence of all the Vedas is Bhagavad Gita. Because every chapter which is divided into sections, Brahmanakas, Aranyakas, Samhitas, and Upanishad. These Brahmanakas, Aranyakas, and Samhitas, they are actually material. Material means about the material knowledge, how to live in city, how to live in forest, how to worship various demigods. But Upanishad is the only spiritual aspect in the chapters. Because Ved means which gives complete knowledge. Vedas give complete knowledge about the material world, about the spiritual world. Because material world also belongs to Krishna. So Vedas is the complete knowledge given by Lord about both the worlds, material world, spiritual world. How to understand spiritual world? That is given in the Upanishad. But Upanishad is very tough to understand. That is why elaborate study of Upanishad by examples is given in Puranas. From the Puranas, 2 dynasties were taken, Suryavamshi, Chandravamshi, and in this way Ramayana and Mahabharata were given. So now to make his students understand that Bhagavad Gita is the essence of all the Upanishad, Sripad Adi Shankaracharya named Bhagavad Gita as Gita Upanishad. So right first question is, who gave this name Gita Upanishad? It is Sripad Adi Shankaracharya. Bhagavad Gita as it is. Why Prabhupada book is known as Bhagavad Gita as it is? Some 20-25 years before, few devotees had come to our house and gave us Bhagavad Gita. I took it with great reverence. And Bhagavad Gita, I just wrapped it in red cloth and kept it in the altar. What to say? I did not even open the plastic cover page also. It was just covered and kept. After a few days, they again came. Mataji, did you study Bhagavad Gita? I just was scratching my head. Because, what will I say? I did not even open. They said, as it is, Jashi ahe tashi, itharu. That means you do not even open it as it is. So here, the meaning of as it is, let us see. Srila Prabhupada, when he went to West, he presented his Bhagavad Gita. At the time, an American lady said, "Oh Prabhupada, another one." That means till now, already 700 commentaries are existing. Prabhupada, are you presenting another one confusion? Well, already 700 confusions are there. And on top of that, another one confusion. Prabhupada said, no, I am presenting Bhagavad Gita as it is. Jashiyahi Tashi. Without any interpretations, wrong interpretations. No addition, no subtraction. Whatever is given as it is. So in this way, the spirit of Bhagavad Gita lies in Bhagavad Gita itself. The spirit of Bhagavad Gita is devotion. Like you take a medicine bottle. Then, if you want to really take advantage of that medicine, then you have to follow the prescription which is given in the medicine bottle. You cannot just take the medicine in your own way. Whatever is given, that you have to take it. So whatever instructions Krishna has given, you have to take it as it is. If I don't like some portion, oh, I don't like this Bhakti Yoga. Oh, I like Karma Yoga. This Jnana Yoga is not for me. So in this way, omitting something, deleting something, accepting something as per our choice, that should not be done. That is known as Ardha Kukunai theory. You know what is Ardha Kukunai? Kukunai means there was a hen which used to lay golden eggs. So this owner of this hen, she was liking the back portion, but she was not liking the front portion of this hen because this hen is eating so much. So what she did, she took a knife. She cut the neck. That means I don't want the front portion. I will only accept the back portion. Will the hen give the egg? No. In the same way, if you accept some portion and reject some portion, that is known as Ardha Kukunai theory. That should not be done. Bhagavad Gita as it is. That means follow all the instructions, whatever given by Lord. So that is why. What is spirit of Bhagavad Gita? What is spirit of Bhagavad Gita? Spirit of Bhagavad Gita is devotion. It lies in Bhagavad Gita itself. It is devotion. So second question, what is spirit of Bhagavad Gita? Then what is the qualification to study Bhagavad Gita? This is the third question of today. What is the qualification to study Bhagavad Gita? What should be the qualification? Now I cannot ask the question. I only have to answer. So what is the spirit of Bhagavad Gita? What is the qualification to study Bhagavad Gita? Complete faith. So one should have complete faith while studying. Because even if a person doesn't have faith in Lord Krishna, because you are taking the instructions of Krishna, without the faith in Lord, how can a person understand Bhagavad Gita? So now, even if a person doesn't have faith, okay, accepted, doesn't have faith in Krishna, at least assume Supreme Personality of Godhead is equal to Krishna. Then go on reading the instructions. Like you have this, you in the mathematics you have some equations. Then you assume that x is equal to so and so. Then you go on putting that y is equal to so and so. Then x plus y the whole square. Then you try to put that and you derive an answer. In the same way, you assume the Supreme Personality of Godhead is equal to Krishna. Then you go on reading the instructions. Then you will completely have this conviction, yes, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Bhagavan, is Lord Shri Krishna. So in this way, complete faith is the qualification to study Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, "Oh Arjuna, I am giving this secret to you because you are my devotee and friend." This is the most confidential knowledge. It is not that I open a Bhagavad Gita and just start studying without a faith. I can never understand. So one should have complete faith and he should follow Guru Shishya Parampara. Without Guru Shishya Parampara, one can never understand Bhagavad Gita. So what is the qualification? He should receive this knowledge in disciplic succession. He should have complete faith. If these two things are there, then rest assured that you can understand Bhagavad Gita very nicely. Krishna reveals this knowledge through Parampara. That is known as Guru Shishya Parampara. In this way, proceeding ahead. Now we have gone to third page. Now, slowly we'll go ahead. What are the different types of rasas? A person, every living entity has a different relationship with Krishna. Every living entity is Amsha of Krishna. Is a part and parcel of Krishna. So every living entity derives a particular rasa. Rasa means juice. You know, in Tamil you have rasam. How to describe rasam? Now in these seasons you have mango juice, amras. How will you describe amras? Will you say it is sweet? Just saying sweet, it is not enough. It has some special taste. So rasas cannot be described. It has to be experienced. Like what rasa mother experiences while feeding the baby. Can she put that in writing? Few words here and there she can put. But in the relationship, any relationship, mother-son relationship, mother-daughter relationship, husband-wife relationship, every relationship has some rasa. But in this material world, what rasa we are trying to derive, that is only lust. There is no love in it. As long as the other person fulfills your expectation, there is some rasa. The moment he stops fulfilling or she stops fulfilling your expectation, there is no rasa. Actual rasa is only in devotion. So, what is this rasa? This rasa is categorized into 5. Shantaras, Dasyaras. I think somebody is sleeping and hearing the class. Renu, Manika, please sit down properly and hear the class. It is a school. When we are hearing the class, we should have a pen and paper because we are studying Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is Krishna himself. So when we study Bhagavad Gita, we should actually sit properly. How you sit in the school, not just lie down and in any position. No, sit properly, take a pen and paper and write. Because I can see in the screen who are all sitting and writing and seriously hearing. Anyhow, so rasa, this Shantaras, Dasyaras. So Shantaras, Dasyaras, Sakhyaras, Vatsalyaras, and Madhurya Rasa. Like that, there are 5 types of rasas. Note down in the paper and the pen what the 5 types of rasas. What is Shantaras? Shantaras means you have respect for that person, but you don't know that he's you are not much acquainted with that person. It is very impersonal. You have respect. Like sometimes when you see a temple, you don't even go inside the temple, but you have some gestures like this. Maybe some flying kiss or something like that. Many people do that. Some namaskar they will do, but they don't know who is in the temple. That means you don't know that God is a person, but you have respect for him. You don't have that type of personal relationship with him. You're not serving him, but you have respect. So Shantaras is only restricted till respect. Dasaras, he has respect and he serves also. Dasaras, that is how the devotees begin with Dasaras. Shantaras, nobody is interested because Shantaras is very impersonal. You're not having that personal type of relationship with Lord. Dasaras starts with serving. Sakhyaras, you have respect, you serve, at the same time, you have that type of freedom to speak, that like how Arjuna, he is in a Sakhyaras. At that time, you think that you are also equal to Lord. At the platform of equality, but at the same time, you are serving also. You know Lord is master and is servant. But sometimes even your maid servant, she becomes very friendly to you and she starts advising you. So that is known as Sakhyaras. When the servant becomes so free with you and starts advising you, that is known as Sakhyaras. Now the same rasa further increases to Vatsalya rasa, where the living entity thinks, oh, I am the caretaker of Krishna. Vatsalya. Like you have Yashoda Mai, you have Nanda Baba, where the devotee thinks that I am taking care of Krishna. So that caretaking tendency is also added. That means you have respect, you have service attitude, you have the sense of equality. At the same time, you take care of Lord. In fact, Lord takes care of all of us. But still, the sense of, oh, I am taking care of Lord. That's Vatsalya rasa. Then comes conjugal, like the mood of conjugal lover. That is known as Madhurya rasa, in which everything is given to Krishna. Samarpana, complete samarpana to Krishna. Like the gopis of Vrindavan, the queens of Dwarika, they are all in the Madhurya rasa. So in this way, there are 5 types of rasa. In the Madhurya rasa also you have reverence, you have service attitude, sense of equality, caretaking tendency. Well, one thing extra is what? Complete samarpan to God. So in this way, there are 5 types of rasa. But in all the rasa, in all the rasas, if you see, service attitude, that means one has to serve Krishna. That is more important, because personal relationship starts with Dasya rasa. In the Shanta rasa, there is no personal relationship. So we are not considering the Shanta rasa. From the Dasya rasa, if you see, every living entity is a servant of Krishna. That is for sure. So what is my rasa with Krishna? Everybody must be thinking, what is my rasa with Krishna? Everybody's rasa with Krishna is everybody is a servant of Krishna. Jivera Swarupo Hai Krishnera Nityadas. Every one of us is a servant of Krishna. Krishna is master, I am servant. When I say I means who? Jiva is a servant. Because we saw, am I body or soul? So in the crash course we saw, I am not the body, I am soul. So every jiva is servant of Krishna. So now, what is the purpose of studying Bhagavad Gita? Next question. What is the purpose? Oh, lockdown. No, I don't know what to do every Sunday. Some time pass should happen. So let me study Bhagavad Gita. Is this the purpose of studying Bhagavad Gita? What is the purpose of studying Bhagavad Gita? So very nicely Srila Prabhupada says, one has to come out of this nescience, ignorance. And what is it, ignorance? Oh, I am the body. This all, anything belonging to this body is mine. Aham mama iti ajnanam. What is ignorance? Write this. What is ignorance? Aham mama iti ajnana. Ignorance is also known as ajnana. Aham mama iti ajnana. I am body. If I eat apple a day, I can keep my body alive for a long time. I am not going to die. Everybody will die, but I will not die. So on this, all these are actually ignorance. We, howsoever will try to protect this body is going to perish. Howsoever we try to protect our family, but everything is going to, like logs of wood, they come together, then everything is going to separate. That is the truth. So this science is nothing but birth and death cycle. We are all stuck in this birth and death cycle. One birth. In this birth, somebody is a family. Next birth, somebody else will come in the family. So all these things is nothing but ignorance. So coming out of this ignorance, the purpose of studying Bhagavad Gita is to understand the true fact that I am servant of Krishna. And though this birth and death cycle, though this I try to protect this body, but I cannot be. It's not a permanent situation. To come out of this ignorance, the purpose is to deliver mankind from the science of material existence. So Prabhupada writes, to come out of this ignorance of material existence. Then, like here Srila Prabhupada says, there are so many people who are suffering, but there are few people who are actually inquiring into the suffering. Why am I suffering? So what categorizes us to be a human? Next question. What categorizes us to be a human? So many questions we have done till now. What categorizes us? All small questions. How can we say that we are a human? Am I an animal or a human? Human means he should inquire. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. The moment he starts inquiring, why am I suffering? What is the cause of my suffering? Is there life after death? What is my relationship to God? They are all known as Brahma Jigyasa. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. So this categorizes us to be a human, or we are as good as a social animal. Animal also eats, sleeps, mates, defends, ahar, nidra, bhai, maithun. But then if we are a human, then we should inquire, what is the cause of my suffering? How best I can utilize this time, the time which has been given to me? How best I can utilize the matter? So in this way, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Till this point of inquiry, we are just animal. The moment we start inquiring, we are human. Now, if I want to inquire, where should I inquire? How should I inquire? All this I have done in the crash course, but just a small revision again. How should I inquire? Should I get this knowledge by my own endeavor? Pratyaksha Pramana. But every Pratyaksha Pramana is not right, because my senses are imperfect. With my imperfect senses, I cannot gain the knowledge. So Pratyaksha Pramana is not, it cannot be completely relied. I cannot depend on Pratyaksha Pramana for getting the knowledge. Like what is there on my back? Just imagine. The nearest thing I cannot see with my imperfect senses. Then what to speak of understanding about the soul, understanding about our relationship with the soul with our imperfect senses. And neither I can understand this, nor I can understand this with Anuman Praman, guesswork. I cannot just do some guesswork and try to understand the knowledge. So Pratyaksha Praman, Anuman Praman, they are all complete failures. It's only Shruti Praman, hearing from the proper authoritative source, we can understand this knowledge. That is why Shruti Praman, by hearing from the disciplic succession, I can get the knowledge. Vedas speak truth. Vedas are considered as mother. Vedas means Shruti. Shruti is also known as mother. So hearing from the proper authoritative source, which is also known as Sampradaya. What is the meaning of sampradaya? Sam means about Lord. Pra means prakrushta rupena, complete. Daya means to give. So the place where I get the complete knowledge about the absolute truth, that is known as sampradaya. Technically, there are 4 sampradayas. Brahma sampradaya, Rudra sampradaya, Shri sampradaya, Kumar sampradaya. Again, I will repeat, you can note it down. Sampradaya. Sam means about Lord. Pra means prakrushta rupena. That means in whole, complete. Daya means to give. So the place where I get complete knowledge about the absolute truth, that is known as sampradaya. 4 sampradaya. Vice Chancellor is Krishna. Krishna gives his knowledge to Brahma. Then Narada, in this way the sampradaya flows. That we'll see later. Krishna gives his knowledge to Brahma. Krishna gives his knowledge to Lakshmi, from where Sri Sampradaya starts. Krishna gives his knowledge to 4 Kumaras, from where Kumar Sampradaya flows. Krishna gives his knowledge to Lord Shiva, from where Rudra Sampradaya starts. So 4 Sampradayas. ISKCON comes under Brahma Sampradaya. Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. ISKCON comes under Brahma Sampradaya. So one is in a safe place to study Bhagavad Gita. We should inquire, have I joined in a proper place to study Bhagavad Gita? But there are so many people who are speaking on Bhagavad Gita. Apasampradayas. There are people who don't belong to any sampradaya. They also speak Bhagavad Gita. But Bhagavad Gita knowledge can be studied only in a sampradaya. Anybody who comes in the sampradaya, you can hear to him. So you are in the safe place to study Bhagavad Gita. Because ISKCON comes under Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya, Sampradaya. Now, what is there in Bhagavad Gita? There are 5 subject matters, which we dealt in short in the crash course. These 5 subject matters, that is soul, God, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. These are the 5 subject matters. Now I'm not going to describe all, because anyhow we are going to study in Bhagavad Gita. 5 subject matters. Just write down how many subject matters are there in Bhagavad Gita. There are 5 subject matters. Soul, God, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. Now, among these 5, what are eternal? Soul, God, Prakriti, Kala. They are eternal. What can be changed? That is, karma can be changed. Activities can be changed. If these activities are material, then you are bound in this material world. The same activities, if done for Krishna, then you can be liberated. So the activities can bind you also. The same activities, if done for Krishna, it can liberate you also. Yagyathat karmano nyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sangha samachara. Yagyathat karmano nyatra. If you are doing it for Krishna, then the same karma will liberate you. If you are doing it for yourself, lokoyam karma bandhanaha. If you are doing it for yourself, keeping your sense gratification in the center or the priority, then the same karma will bind you. So out of the 5 subject matters, 4 are eternal, 1 is changeable. Now, so these are the 5 subject matters in Bhagavad Gita. Now, Bhagavad Gita has 18 chapters. These 18 chapters are divided into 3 parts. First 6, middle 6, and next 6. 1 to 6, 7 to 12, 13 to 18. The first 6 is known as Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga, focus is on Karma Yoga. The middle 6 is Bhakti Yoga. Last 6 is Jnana Yoga. So in this way, these 3 types of yoga is there. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga, which is also known as Sankhya Yoga. Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Jnana Yoga or Sankhya Yoga. Let us see the chapter's name, because if you study Bhagavad Gita, we should know the chapter's name also. Huh? If you don't know chapter's name, then what is the use of studying Bhagavad Gita? So write down First chapter's name. In English, it is Observing the Armies on the Battlefield of Kurukshetra. Observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. That is the first chapter's name. If you open Bhagavad Gita, open. Observing the army. Sainya Darshana Yoga. Sainya Darshana Yoga. You write down in Sanskrit. Because in English you have it. But in Sanskrit, what is the name? Sainya Darshana Yoga. This first chapter is also known as Lamentation of Arjuna. Lamentation of Arjuna is crying in this first chapter. So in Sanskrit, it is known as Arjuna Vishada Yoga. This first chapter has two names: Arjuna Vishada Yoga, Sainya Darshana Yoga. Now, second chapter, Contents of Gita summarized. Gita Sar. Gita Sar. And it's also known as Sankhya Yoga. Contents of Gita summarized. That is Gita Sar, or it's also known as Sankhya Yoga. Karma Yoga, third chapter. In Sanskrit also it is Karma Yoga. Then you have fourth chapter, Jnana Karma Yoga. Now Karma Yoga is third chapter. Fourth chapter is Transcendental Knowledge. Jnana Karma Yoga. Then fifth chapter, Karma Yoga, Action in Krishna Consciousness. Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Fifth chapter is known as Jnana Karma Sannyasa Yoga. Sixth chapter, Dhyana Yoga. Dhyana Yoga. In Sanskrit also Dhyana Yoga. In English also Dhyana Yoga. In seventh chapter, Knowledge of the Absolute. Knowledge of the Absolute. Jnana Vijnana Yoga. Jnana Vijnana Yoga. Examination will be there for you to learn this chapter's name. Jnana Vijnana Yoga. Then eighth chapter, Attaining the Supreme. Attaining the Supreme. In Sanskrit, Akshara Brahma Yoga. Akshara Brahma Yoga. The most confidential knowledge, ninth chapter. The most confidential knowledge. Rajavidya, Rajaguhya Yoga. Rajavidya, Rajaguhya Yoga. 10th chapter, Opulence of the Absolute. Opulence of the Absolute. Vibhuti Yoga. Vibhuti Yoga. Eleventh chapter, the universal form. Universal form. Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga. Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga. 11th chapter, Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga. 12th chapter, Devotional Service. Devotional Service. Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga. 13th chapter, Nature, Enjoyer, Consciousness. Nature, Enjoyer, Consciousness. Kshetra Kshetragya Vibhaga Yoga. Kshetra Kshetragya Vibhaga Yoga. Kshetra Kshetragya Vibhaga Yoga. Kshetra Kshetragya Vibhaga Yoga. 14th chapter, the three modes of material nature. The three modes of material nature. Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. Three modes of material nature. Gunatraya Vibhaga Yoga. 15th chapter, Yoga of the Supreme Person. Yoga of the Supreme Person. Purushottama Yoga. Purushottama Yoga. Then Divine and Demonic nature, divine and demonic nature. 16th chapter. Devasura Sampada Vibhaga Yoga. Devasura, Deva Asura. So combinedly we should say Devasura Sampada Vibhaga Yoga. Who is Deva? Divine qualities. Who has divine qualities? Who has asuric qualities? So Devasura Sampada Vibhaga Yoga. Divisions of faith. 17th chapter. Divisions of faith. Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga. Shraddhatraya. 3 divisions of faith. 3 modes of material nature. So 3 divisions of faith. That is why Shraddhatraya. Traya means 3. Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga. Shraddhatraya Vibhaga Yoga. Then last chapter. Who want to reach last chapter? The perfection of renunciation. Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. Perfection of renunciation. Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. Generally you ask, you want to become a sannyasi? Oh, no. Moksha Sannyasa Yoga. So in this way, if you read the introduction, so your homework is you should read the introduction. You have 7 days. Just go through this introduction very nicely. In which Srila Prabhupada speaks about what is Sanatan Dharma. Religion is man-made. Sanatan Dharma is eternal. What is the meaning of Dharma? Dharma means the intrinsic quality of an object, which cannot be changed as per time, place, circumstances. It is eternal. It is going to be the same. So the Dharma of the soul is to serve. Whom to serve? If you don't know that, then we land up in material existence. If we understand our real Dharma, the Dharma of the soul is to serve God, then we can completely get liberated from this material existence. So let us start with the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. First shloka. Sainya Darshana Yoga, observing the armies on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Arjuna Vishada Yoga, the lamentation of Arjuna. Dhritarashtracha Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre Samaveta Yuyutsavaha Mamaka Pandavaschaiva Kima Purvata Sanjaya. Dhritarashtracha. Just see, first verse itself, the beginning words is spoken by Dhritarashtra, who is completely adharmic. And he speaks Dharma Kshetre. He speaks about Dharma. That is what is Saraswat Vakya. Saraswati resides in everyone's tongue. Even though the cause of all this war, Mahabharata war, the cause is actually Dhritarashtra. He's complete Agyani. Aham mama iti Agyanam. He's a complete Agyani. He is completely on the side of Adharma. But still, he is speaking Dharma Kshetre. This Kurukshetra is Dharma Kshetra. Unknowingly, actually, he has declared that this war is going to be won by the Pandavas. Because on the side of Pandavas, Krishna is there. Dharmastu Sakshat Bhagavat Pranitam. Wherever Dharma is there, Krishna is there. Dharmastu Sakshat Bhagavat Pranitam. Wherever Dharma is there, Krishna is there. Or wherever Krishna is there, Dharma is there. Dharma is based on 4 principles. Last time we have seen that. Truthfulness, austerity, purity, and compassion. If these 4 principles are there, you can write down these 4 principles. That is compassion. That is non-violence, compassion. Purity, austerity, truthfulness. If these 4 principles are followed, then Dharma is there. Dharma is based on these 4 principles. That is compassion, Compassion, purity, austerity, truthfulness. Compassion also means no meat eating. Last time we saw the regulations. No meat eating, no speaking ill about others also. So compassion, truthfulness. Don't try to speculate on the verses of Bhagavad Gita. One should not have a dry speculation. Truthfulness. So no gambling. No gambling over the verses. So no gambling is the regulation. Then austerity, tapasya. No intoxication. If you are intoxicated, you cannot do tapasya. Tapasya, one cannot do tapasya if he is intoxicated. Intoxication with pride also. No illicit sex. What happens? Purity is gone. So no illicit sex. So if illicit sex is there, purity is gone. So no illicit sex. Then you can maintain purity. So purity is based on one should not have this desire for name and fame. Then purity is gone. So in this way, regulations we saw last time. And based on that, these principles, religious principles, that is compassion, truthfulness, purity, austerity. Now, unknowingly, Dhritarashtra, that is the mercy of Saraswati. Saraswati declared from the mouth of Dhritarashtra that this war is going to be won by the Pandavas. Because Krishna is present on the side of Pandavas. Wherever Lord is present, Dharma is present. Though he must have not wanted to say this verse, isn't it? Why Dhritarashtra should declare Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetra? But that is what is the power of Saraswati. That is known as Saraswat Vakya. Now Krishna gave choice to Arjuna as well as Duryodhana. He said, if you want me, you can take me, but I am not going to take part in the war. Or you can take my Narayani Sena. You can take my opulence. So it so happened, Arjuna came, he sat near the feet of Lord. Duryodhana came, sat near the head of Lord. And Lord was sleeping. When he opened the eyes, he saw Arjuna. He gave the first chance, because he saw Arjuna, he told Arjuna, you will say what you want. Now Duryodhana was in great anxiety. It should not happen. He should ask Narayani Sena. But to his surprise, he asked Krishna. He said, I want Lord. Though Lord is not going to take part in the war, but still Arjuna said, I want you. So in this way, Lord was on the side of Arjuna. Duryodhana was very happy. Oh, all the opulence I will get. So in this way, Lord is there on the side of Arjuna. Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetra. This Kurukshetra is Dharma Kshetra. Dharma is going to be established. Samaveta Yuyutsavaha. Samaveta. Assembled. Who have assembled? Yutsava. Why they have assembled? To fight. Who have assembled? Mamakaha. My sons. Pandavaha. Pandu's sons. Does us see? They are my sons. These are my brother's sons. That is how we can understand how Dhritarashtra is completely in ignorance. What is the significance of this word? Mamakaha Pandavaha. What is the significance? Write this question. What is the significance? Mamakaha Pandavaha. By just considering these two words, Mamakaha Pandavaha, one can understand that Dhritarashtra is in ignorance. Aham mama. Aham mama iti ajnana. By this word, Mamakaha Pandavaha, by this statement, one can understand the ignorance of Dhritarashtra. This is one question. Another question in this is, what is the significance of Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetra? What is the significance? King Kuru, first answer. In this there are few answers. Why this Dharma Kshetra is also known as Kurukshetra, or why Kurukshetra is known as Dharma Kshetra? Why Kurukshetra is known as Dharma Kshetra? King Kuru, he had done lot of austerities. King Kuru is the forefather of this dynasty. He had done lot of austerity. to please Indra. But Indra was never pleased. But Indra wanted to test him more. He did more austerities. Then Indra appeared before King Kuru and he blessed him that you are Kshetra, in your Kshetra, Lord will personally appear. That is why Kurukshetra is also known as Dharma Kshetra, because he has got this benediction from Indra. And second significance is because Kurukshetra is known as Dharma Kshetra, religious principles will be established. Lord himself is present, so all the principles will be established. All the 4 principles will be established. And also by saying the Kshetra, Kshetra means field. In the field, you have crops grown. But near the crops, you have unwanted crops also, which are known as weeds. Then what you will do? You will remove the weeds, isn't it? So in this Kurukshetra, unwanted weeds like Duryodhana will be uprooted and Pandavas will be nourished. So this Kshetra has a lot of meaning. Kshetra means field. In this field, Duryodhana party will be uprooted and Pandavas will be, Dharma will be established. Pandavas are on the side of Dharma, that is why Dharma will be established. So these are the significance of Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra. Significance of Mamakaha Pandavaha, it shows how ignorant is Dhritarashtra. Now, what is the significance of this line? Kima Kurvata Sanjaya? Hey Sanjaya, what are they doing? Who is Sanjaya? Sanjaya got the benediction from Vyasa. He is actually a disciple of Vyasa. So now Sanjaya has got a benediction from Vyasa that he can envision from everything from far. So being within the palace, Sanjaya is giving a live commentary. What is happening in Kurukshetra? So now he is asking to Sanjaya, hey Sanjaya, what is happening in Kurukshetra? He himself has told that they have assembled to fight. Then naturally whoever is assembled to fight, they will fight. Why is he eager to know what is happening? Like if I come to your house and you give me wonderful plate full of laddus, then what I will do? I'll eat. Until unless you have added some poison in it, you will not be so eager to know what I am doing, If somebody feels like, okay, I should kill this person, if he has added some poison, then he will be very eager to know, is he eaten? Is he eaten? Like you can take another example. Children, they study in the examinations. The child who has really done very good, he is not so much bothered about the results. The child who has really not done good, he is actually waiting for the results. Means he is also eager because he knows he is going to fail in the examination. If he knows that he is going to fail, that actually increases his anxiety. If you have given me plate of laddus, I am going to eat. Then you don't have to ask, what are you doing, Mataji? Are you eaten? Have you eaten? Have you eaten? You don't have to ask 10 times. Until unless some poison is added and you feel like I should kill this Mataji, then it's okay. But if you have the example of Ramanujacharya. Ramanujacharya, he went to the priest's house. The priest had told Ramanujacharya's wife, priest had told his wife, you add the poison in the food of Ramanujacharya. He was very eager to know whether Ramanujacharya had eaten the food or not. So here Kimakurvata Sanjaya actually shows the anxiety which is there in the heart of Dhritarashtra. What is that anxiety? First anxiety. Because he knows this Kshetra is not an ordinary Kshetra. It is a Dharma Kshetra. The influence of this place should not affect my sons. It should not happen. They also become dharmic. All good nature. It should not happen that they all get all wonderful nature and they give up this fight. That is why sometimes it so happens that parents don't want to take their children to the temple. Because it should not happen, they become dharmic. Some parents are like that. They don't want the children to get associated with divine people or saintly people. Not all of you, you are all wonderful people. That is why you all are in the Bhagavad Gita class. But there are certain parents, they don't want the children to go to the temple. They like the children to sit before the TV, all those things they will like, but they don't want the children to get in contact, come in contact with the saintly people. Because they have the fear that my sons should not become dharmic. So here also there is a fear in the heart of Dhritarashtra that my sons should not become dharmic, because he is having so much of attachment to the throne. He knew that this war is going to be won by the Pandavas, but still that attachment to the throne and the position is making him speak this, Kima Kurvata Sanjaya, because he does not want Duryodhana to give up war, and he has that fear of the influence of the place and the people, because their saintly people are there, Pandavas are there, and all the saintly people have taken the side of Pandavas. Lord Krishna himself is also present. So influence of the person and the place, that fear of influence of the person and the place is there. That is the first significance. And second significance is he is having so much of attachment to the power and the position. That is why he is asking this question. Now let us see the second verse. Sanjaya Vacha Drishtva tu Pandavanīkam Vyūdham Duryodhanastada Acharyam Upasangamya Raja Vachanam Abravīt. In the first verse, the purport, you have to read it home very nicely. Sit and read the whole purport, because we will be just going now little fast track in the first chapter, second chapter, because many of the students, they have completed first chapter, second chapter. But the purports, whatever is there in the purport, I'm explaining to you. What you can do, you should read this purport very nicely, because Srila Prabhupada has taken a lot of efforts putting this purports, taking from many of the different scriptures. He has referred to many scriptures, and these purports are very wonderful. What I'm explaining is from the purports only. Drishtva tu Pandavanīkam Vyūdham Duryodhanastada Acharyam Upasangamya Raja Vachanam Abravīt. So Sanjaya is saying, Drishtva, you see Drishtva. The first word used is Drishtva. Drishtva refers to, oh Dhritarashtra, anyhow you are blind by birth. Your son is also blind. Because you don't have to worry. Your son is equally blind. Even though he may be standing in Kurukshetra, which is Dharmashetra, but still he is also blind. He is bereft of all the spiritual vision. He is blind of, he doesn't have any spiritual vision. Even though Lord is standing before him, he is blind. So that is why Drishtva is used. Drishtva tu Pandavanīkam. So after seeing the wonderful arrangement, Vyūdham, done by the soldiers of Pandavas, what did Duryodhana do? Duryodhana, he got down from his chariot and ran towards his Acharya, Dronacharya, and spoke the following words. If you see from second verse to 11th verse, second verse to 11th verse, you have diplomacy of Duryodhana discussed. This whole section, 2nd to 11th, is diplomacy of Duryodhana, which we'll try to do now. So he got down from his chariot. Who is a diplomatic person? You don't say all politicians are diplomatic persons. Diplomacy is there within us also. But how to understand who is a diplomatic person? How to use this diplomacy, that is next. Everybody is diplomatic. That means sometimes our words, our actions, our thoughts, they don't match with each other. You are actually angry with the other person, but you act as if you're talking very nicely with that person. That is also diplomacy only. Your thoughts, your body language, and your actions are completely different. The words which come out of your mouth, your body language, and what you think, they are all completely different from each other. That is known as diplomacy. And also, diplomacy means where you are actually in fear of losing. When you have this fear of losing, you try to cover up. And in this way, you try to do something by which you can have your position maintained. That is why this diplomacy and all is employed. So here Duryodhana is also in fear. And what is that fear? Fear of losing the war. Now, how is he employing his diplomacy? Let us see. Why is he called a diplomatic person? He is a king. Raja Vachanam Abravit. He is called as a king because he wants to be the king. Already he has declared that I am only going to be the king. Now, if he is a king, then he should ask Dronacharya, who is commander-in-chief, to come. If he has some doubt, he should ask him to come. Why should he get down from the chariot? Then you say, oh, he's such a wonderful person. He's so humble. That is why even though being a king, he got down from the chariot and he went to his teacher, who is actually Dronacharya, but he is commander-in-chief. Even though he is commander-in-chief, this king got down from his chariot and went to the teacher. Okay, the action shows that he is humble, but the speech what he did with his teacher is not at all humble. He is actually going and criticizing his teacher. That is why action, the words and the thoughts, they are not matching with each other. The thoughts show, actually the thoughts have fear. Arjuna, Duryodhana is in complete fear of losing the war. But he acts as if he has so many people. He has the whole Narayani Sena to support him. But within, he has a fear. And externally, he shows that he is humble. But when he is speaking, he is very arrogant. So in this way, it is known as diplomatic behavior. So let us see what he goes and tells to the teacher. But you promise me, all of you, that you are going to read the purport, or I will be just reading the purport. So promise me that you are going to read the purport of Srila Prabhupada. Okay? That is not the head. Very good. Pashaitam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamu Yudham Drupada Putrena Tavashishyena Dhimata. So after seeing Pashaitam, he saw. What he saw? After he says to teacher, Pashaitam, oh teacher, please see. Now just see the way he's speaking. Pashaitam Panduputranam. Just see this great army of the sons of Pandu. Panduputranam. Acharya Mahatim Chamum. Oh Acharya Mahatim Chamum. Such a great military force has been arranged. Yudham. Who has arranged? Drupada Putrena. Drupa's son. He has arranged such a wonderful army. Drishtadumna. Drupada Putra is Drishtadumna. He could have told Vyudham Drishtadumnena, but he didn't say that. What did he say? Vyudham Drupada Putrena. Intentionally, he says Drupada Putrena. Instead of saying Drishtadumna, he says Drupada Putrena. Tava Shishyena Dhimataha. Your Shishya is very intelligent. Now there are two ways of telling. If you really glorify the teacher, oh teacher, you're so wonderful. Your disciples are also wonderful. This is very simple way of glorification. But if you really want to pull down your teacher, have a sarcastic remark for your teacher, what you can say? Oh, your students are very intelligent. That means you are fool number one. Your students are better than you. So here, sarcastic remark has been passed to his teacher, Dronacharya. He says, oh Dronacharya, your Shishya is very intelligent than you. It so happened, Drupad and Dronacharya, they were Gurukul friends. And Drupad is a Kshatriya, Dronacharya is a Brahmana. But in Gurukul, everybody are treated equally and they were very good friends. So after this Gurukul studies, when they were departing, at that time Drupad said, anytime in your life, whatever, if any necessity is there, you can come to me. Because as such, Brahmins don't have much of opulence. They have knowledge, but not much of opulence. If you require anything, you can come to my palace. Now Dronacharya married Kripacharya's sister Kripi. In this way, Drishtadimna was, Ashwathama was born. Dronacharya's son Ashwathama. Now Dronacharya was very, like, he was not having much opulence. To such an extent, they were so much poor, they were not having even milk to feed their son Ashwathama. So then once the child was crying so much, this Kripi, she just put some lime in the water and was showing as if it is a milk to pacify the child. That was a poverty state in the house of Dronacharya. Then he remembered, oh, Drupad had told me, anytime you need anything in your life, you can come to my palace. So he went to the palace of Drupad. But what happened? This Drupad started insulting him. He failed to recognize also. He recognized, but he showed as if he's not recognized. And he insulted Dronacharya. It was too much. So then Dronacharya, taking that insult, was just passing through Hastinapur. At that time, these boys were playing. That is the Kauravas and the Pandavas. They were all young boys. So Duryodhana and all those brothers and here Pandavas, they were all playing together. This ball fell in the well. Their ball fell in the well. They were all peeping down. So then Dronacharya told, can I help you? He said, yes. He just put one twig, another twig, and with that twig, he made a big rope. And with that twig, he just pulled out that ball which was fallen in the well. Immediately, Arjuna ran to Bhishma Pitama and told, a wonderful personality has come to our kingdom. Just by the twigs, he made a wonderful rope and removed the ball. Bhishma Pitama could understand that can be none other than Dronacharya. Immediately, he requested Dronacharya to be the military teacher, to teach this military arts to this both Pandavas and the Kauravas. So he employed Dronacharya to be their teacher. So in this way, Pandavas and the Kauravas, they were taught this military art by Dronacharya. So once it so happened, Dronacharya asked both the Pandavas and the Kauravas, see, this Drupad, he insulted me. So who can go and bring Drupad? Then first Duryodhana told, we'll go and bring Drupad. So they went to arrest Drupad, but they were defeated. Then now here Pandavas, they told, okay, we will go and try out. So Pandavas could arrest and bring Drupad. So when they brought Drupad, Dronacharya, he looked at Drupad and said, he is even unfit to be given punishment. So this was a great insult for a Kshatriya. Kshatriya prefers to be insulted, but when he was told that he is unfit to be even given punishment, Drupad, with this insult, he performed a yajna. And in that yajna, he got Drishtadumna. And he wanted a son who will be the cause of Dronacharya's death. So that is how he got Drishtadumna. And more interesting is, he made this Drishtadumna go to Dronacharya and learn all the military arts. And Dronacharya knew that this son has come from the yajna, and this son is going to be the cause of my death. But still, Dronacharya, as a liberal teacher, because he's a Brahmana, as a liberal teacher, he taught everything to Drupad, in spite of knowing that whatever art I am teaching, he will be using it against me. That is why here sarcastic remark has been given, Dhimata, that your Shishya, Shishyena Dhimata, your Shishya is more intelligent. What he did, he learned from you and applied the same knowledge against you. And you are fool number one, in spite of knowing that this boy is going to be the cause of your death, cause of your failure, but still you taught everything. At least now, don't do that. At least now, don't show that leniency towards Arjuna, because we know your most dearest person is Arjuna, because Dronacharya loves Arjuna so much. At least now, don't show any mercy. Duryodhana warned that such leniency in the fight would lead to defeat. The last line. That is why here, because Arjuna was his most affectionate and the brilliant student, that is why here Duryodhana is warning him, at least now don't show leniency. Now, let us see the fourth verse. Atra Shura Maheshwasa Bhimarjuna Samayudhi Yudhano Viratascha Drupadascha Maharataha. I want to show who are all there on the other side. You see, there are so many great heroic women. They are all equal to Bhima and Arjuna. It is not just Bhima and Arjuna are very great people there, or very strong people. There are great fighters like Yudhana, Virataha, Drupada. They're all Maharathis. Like in you have in the army, you have like lieutenant, colonel. So like that, here also positions are there. There is Ardharathi, Ekarathi, Maharathi, Atirathi. Let us see. Atirathi means he can fight with innumerable chariots at a time. Maharathi, he can fight with 10,000 chariots at a time alone. Ekarathi, he can fight with one chariot at a time. Ardharathi, even to fight with one chariot, he needs a support. Ardharathi is the lowest in the rank. Ardharathi, Ekarathi, Maharathi, Atirathi. There are Maharathis on the other side. And then in the fifth verse also, who are all more Maharathis? Let us see. Drishtaketus Chekitanah Kashirajascha Viryavan Urjit Kunti Bhojascha Shaibyascha Narapungavaha. Drishtaketu, Chekitanah, Kashiraj, Urujit. Then you have Kunti Bhojaha, Shaibyaha. So all Narapungavaha, they are all heroes in the human society. And then Yudha Manyuscha Vikranta Uttamaujascha Viryavan Saubhadro Draupadeyascha Sarva Eva Maharataha. You have Yudhamanyu, you have Uttamaujaha, you have sons of Subhadra, you have sons of Subhadra's sons, Abhimanyu, son of Subhadra, Abhimanyu, sons of Draupadi, 5 Pandavas, Upapandavas. So in this way, you have all great warriors, Maharathis on the other side. And then he was just thinking diplomacy again. How to understand diplomacy? See in the 7th verse. Till now he is glorifying the other party and trying to criticize his own teacher. But he has criticized his teacher to such an extent, now he has a fear that a teacher should not go and jump to the other side. So he wants to maintain the teacher on his side also. So suddenly what he does, he starts praising his teacher. That is why one cannot have faith on a diplomatic person. What he speaks is exactly opposite. If he praises, we should not take that as a praise. He's actually criticizing. That is why we cannot have faith on the words of a diplomatic people. Now suddenly he's trying to glorify his teacher. 7th verse. Asmakam tu vishishtaye tani bodha dvijottama nayaka mama sainyasya sangyartham tan bravimite. O Dvijottama, Dvija. Let us see now what is the meaning of Dvija. In Brahmanas, we have category. Brahmana. Brahmaniti janati Brahmana. One who is eager to understand the absolute truth is Brahmana. In that category comes. First is Dvija. Because the first birth is from the womb of mother. When a person is born from the womb of mother, he is Shudra only. Though maybe the mother is a Brahmana, but still the birth itself is a Shudra only. When a living entity is born from the womb of mother, is actually categorized as Shudra. Now when he is known as Dvija, when he is introduced the spiritual world. So when the mother teaches about the spirituality, or when the Upanayanam Sanskara happens for the child, that is the time he is known as Dvija, twice born. That is why it is the duty of the parents to introduce spirituality to the child. Even within the womb itself, make the child Dvija, not just firstborn, which is Shudra. Introduce this spirituality. In the Upanayanam Sanskara, Upanayanam, what you call Upanayanam Sanskara? When you have the sacred thread, Munji you say in Marathi. So Upanayanam Sanskara, at that time, Gayatri Mantra is given. With this Gayatri Mantra, he is introduced to the spiritual world. Now he has got the qualification to study the scriptures. Now, if he masters the scriptures, then he is known as Vipra. Next position is Vipra. So Dvija became now Vipra. Vipra means Vishesha Rupena Pragya. He is very intelligent now. Now he is intelligent to understand the scriptures. There is difference between understanding and realizing. He has understood the scripture very good. He has read, he has by-hearted the scriptures, everything wonderful. But realizing the scripture, that is only Vaishnava. Vaishnava realizes the scripture. That is why in this Brahmana category, first is Dvija, next is Vipraha, and then the last or the topmost is Vaishnava. So even if a Vaishnava is not born in a Brahmin family, but still he is the topmost in all the Brahmana. He may be born in a dog eater's family, but still he is the topmost because he has realized the scriptures. That is why then now he says, you are Dvija Uttamaha. You are the topmost in all the Brahmana. You are the best of the Brahmana. Now, Asmakam Tu Vishishtaya. I want to tell about our military force. For your information, I want to tell who are all there in our team. Nayaka, who are all the captains in our team? Who are all the soldiers here? That is for your information. I want to tell you. Now just see how he is lowering his teacher. His teacher is the guru for the Kauravas and the Pandavas. So now is the guru not knowing who are all there in his side? The guru not knowing who are all there on the other side? But still he says, I want to show who are all there in my side and the other side. On the other side I have told you, now who are all there in my side? Immediately he starts with Bhavan Bhishmascha Karnascha Krupascha Samitinjayah Ashwathama Vikarnascha Saumadattis Tathaivacha Bhavan. Bhavan. You are there. So till now what he said? You are a greatest fool. Your teacher, your Shishya is more intelligent than you. But now he says, Bhavan. On my side, who is there? You are there. That is why we cannot have any faith on the diplomatic people. Anytime they will glorify, anytime they will let you fall. So, Bhavan, you are there, great personalities like you, Bhishma, Karna, Krupacharya is there, Ashwathama is there, Vikarna is there, and son of Somadatta, that is Bhurishrava, is there. Now, why Vikarna has been put in this? Because Vikarna is the youngest brother of Duryodhana. The 100th son is actually Vikarna. How can he be put in the group of teachers? Here, Bhishma Pitamaha, Karna, Krupacharya, he has been put. Why? Because from the day one, Vikarna was not liking the attitude of Duryodhana. And Duryodhana had the fear that Vikarna should not join the other party. That is why what he did, he was glorifying Vikarna. There are great personalities like Vikarna on my side. So in this way, by glorifying Vikarna, he wants to keep Vikarna onto his side. Because in this war, there was a freedom. You can change your position. You can go to the other side if you want. So for not allowing this Vikarna to go to the other side, he is trying to praise Vikarna that they are all great personalities who are there on my side. So in this way, he is praising. And then 9th and 10th, very important verses. In this 9th and 10th, Duryodhana is speaking such things in which he has declared that the war is going to be won by the Pandavas. Saraswat Vakya. Like last time, the first verse we saw how Dhritarashtra, by the influence, by the power of Saraswati, though did not want to speak, but he spoke. Dharma Kshetre, Kurukshetra. Dharma is going to be established. The same in the 9th and the 10th verse also. Unknowingly, Duryodhana has glorified Pandavas. Unknowingly, though he did not want to do so. Let us see. and unknowingly he has criticized himself only. He has understood that he is the cause of all the trouble. Anye cha bahava shura madarthe takta jivitaah nana shastra praharnaah sarve yuddha visharadaah. Anye cha bahava shura. Anye. There are other heroes also in our side. Anye bahava, in great number. There are so many heroes in our side who are all madarthe takta jivitaah. They are all ready to give up their life, takta jivitaah, for my sake. Madarthe takta jivitaah. And they are all equipped with nana shastra praharanaha. So many shastras are there. Praharanaha. In this way, they are all equipped with various weapons. Sarve yuddha visharadaha. They are all visharadaha, experienced in military science. Now, what is the Saraswat Vakya in this? Madarthe takta jivitaah. This small phrase, Madarthe takta jivitaah. They are all ready to give up their life for my sake, but actual meaning is Madarthe, I am the cause of their death. What is the meaning? I am the cause for their death. That means for that, I am the cause of all the destruction. That is the very confidential meaning, which actually Saraswati wants to say. Though Duryodhana doesn't mean that, but actual meaning is I will be the cause of all destructions. I am the cause of all destruction. Then 10th verse. Aparyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishma bhirakshitam paryaptam tudametesham balam bhima bhirakshitam. Now these two words, aparyaptam, paryaptam, completely changes the meaning. Now what he wants to say, let us see. Aparyaptam, immeasurable. Aparyaptam. Tadasmakam, our strength. Asmakam, our strength. Balam, our strength. Bhishma, Bhirakshitam, our strength is protected by our grandfather Bhishma. He is protecting us. And this is immeasurable. Our strength is immeasurable. And there Bhima, who is like a fig, his strength is paryaptam. His strength is only measurable, very limited. Now how Saraswati changes the meaning? Let us see. Aparyaptam, though immeasurable, but not paryapta, not sufficient. Paryaptam, limited, but sufficient. Understanding? Aparyaptam, immeasurable. But what is the use of immeasurable strength if it is not sufficient? There Bhima's strength is measurable, but sufficient. Paryapta. Paryapta means sufficient. Then 11th verse. Now he has glorified everybody. But what about, he has glorified Bhishma. He has glorified all the heroes there. He said, our strength is protected by Bhishma. And now suddenly in the 11th verse, you see, he is glorifying all other soldiers and thinking that Bhishma has to be protected. The previous verse he says, we are protected by Bhishma. Now in this verse, 11th verse, he says, all the soldiers, stand in your respectable positions and protect our grandfather Bhishma. Bhishma is also confused. What is this? One time he is telling that you are protecting our soldiers and you are asking the soldiers to protect Bhishma. That is why diplomatic person's words cannot be believed. Ayaneshu cha sarveshu yata bhagam avastitaha Bhishmameva bhirakshanto bhavantaha sarva eva hi ayaneshu. Ayaneshu means in the strategic positions. Sarveshu, stand in the strategic positions. Spread yourself everywhere. Yatha bhagam avastitaha, situate yourself in different strategic positions. And what you do? Protect our grandfather Bhishma. Abhidakshitahu, protect him, support him. In this way. He is now doubting that it should not happen. Bhishma is now old. Bhishma is old, then he has to be protected. But in the previous verse, he says, our strength is protected by Bhishma. That is how, if you see from 2nd verse onwards to 11th verse, diplomatic behavior of Duryodhana has been described. How Duryodhana is very much diplomatic. The next class we'll be doing from 12th verse onwards to 20th verse, where the signs of victory of war on the sides of Pandavas has been given. So the whole Bhagavad Gita is divided into sections. If we study Bhagavad Gita with the sections, it will be easy. So here we'll stop. Any questions you can ask. We are doing in a bit fast track, but this recording will be there. So if you are not able to understand, again you can go through them and read the purports very nicely.